the world tonight. Right now, but they move me. And now you be the reason I cannot deny it.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us this morning. There are some things, when you hear certain words, MPC, MPR, you know, the next thing someone is going to ask, how does that change the price of bread? And that's where we're going this morning. You've been hearing all the technicalities, all the big issues about the cash reserve ratio, the monetary policy rate, inflation number, CPI, consumer protection, consumer index, all those things. Let's bring it home. And then another part of this whole MPR issue that we don't hear much is we seem to be cutting the states some slack. While it's easier for us to understand that MPR issues are federal decisions, macroeconomic issues are federal, conversations. How about the states? Don't they have anything to do with all of these conversations that we're having? Well, that's why we have Dr. Teriba with us in the studio this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
You've been at this for a while, and so people need to understand that. By the way, Dr. Teriba is CEO, Economic Associates. I've listened to you, I've heard, and read of some of the things that you have said. And one of the things that we like to achieve with Sunrise on Saturday morning is a kind of digest. You remember Reader's Digest? Right? I mean, we just want to bring it down, right? To drive it home to people so people understand exactly what the issues are. So it goes, first of all, to the impact on people. First of all, give us an understanding of what is out there, what is playing on, what the the CBN is playing on through the MPC to maintain the MPR the way it is. What is the government playing on for retaining it the way it is? And what are the likely implications on people?
All right. Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here, and the role we play is to break things down for all to understand. Let me correct the impression that the central bank or the Monetary Policy Committee left the monetary policy rate, which you call the MPR, the way it is. That impression is not correct. And so they left it at 27 at this meeting. At the last meeting, they reduced it by 50 basis points from 27.50 to 27. Ostensibly because there was a corridor of plus 500 above the MPR before the last meeting. First, the corridor was minus 100 to plus 500. They shrank it so from a band of 600 basis points to a band of 500 basis points, and dragged it down to a symmetric corridor, 250 below, 250 above. So the reduction from 500 above to 250 above was actually an easing of the policy rate. So they did 50 basis points on the rate and 250 basis points on the corridor at the last meeting. So that was easing by 300 basis points. So they came to this meeting, didn't touch the rate, but further dragged down the corridor to plus 50. So since last year, we've been at plus 500. So today, it's at plus 50. So, and that plus 50 was the 50 they took away. So they've actually eased the monetary policy rate by 500 basis points in 2 meetings. That's a lot of easing in 2 meetings. Are we together? Okay. So let's not. So I mean, I wonder why the central bank or the MPC chooses to operate in the corridor rather than the rate. But the point is, no bank can get access to central bank credit. You know, at 27 today, it will be at 27 plus the 50 basis points that is in the corridor. And previously, it would have been at 27.5 plus 500, which is at 32.5%. That's what carried from a year ago to when they eased for the first time in September, and they eased again that corridor. So banks can breathe more freely now. It's not 32.5. It's now 27.5. And that's a lot of easing in 4 months. Does that...
Well, it's a start. What does that, how does that, as we said at the beginning, how does that affect the price of bread? Because...
it's a two-edged sword. It's a two-edged sword. Yeah, if you ask everybody who sits on the Monetary Policy Committee, they would love to set the policy rate as 2% for the benefit of Nigerians, so credit is easy for everybody. And but why did they hike it in the first place? You will recall that when this regime came, both the government led by the president, His Excellency, Ashiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, and then the central bank governor that came a few months after, and then the Monetary Policy Committee that came, you know, in February 2024. We had massive issues of unstable foreign exchange market with large premium between the NIFEM and the BDC, which had precipitated an accelerating inflation. So the reason they hike was to support, you know, the interventions in the foreign exchange. When the market was liberalized, they needed to tighten to ensure that the market, foreign exchange market, returned to stability. And everyday Nigerians, you know, felt the pinch of an unstable exchange rate, depreciating currency from June 2024 to November last year, to a year ago. The exchange rate stabilized a year ago. The two rates became convergent increasingly, and we've seen appreciation between November last year that we saw the worst with the exchange rate. Between November last year and today, we've seen nothing but stability and appreciation. That's why they tightened. So let's count that those gains. I mean, the currency peaked at 1,750 in November 2024. Today is 1,450. That's 300 naira gain per dollar.
Right.
For anyone that holds the naira, anyone who lives in Nigeria. Another benefit of that is that as the currency was in and got to 1,750, inflation accelerated every month for 18 months until the same November last year, when it peaked at 34.6%. But since the exchange rate had stabilized and had been appreciating in the last 1 year, inflation itself, starting from December, it dropped to 33. January drops every month except March. Inflation had been decelerating. That's benefit for Nigerians, that the tight monetary policy regime had end for them. And so you are looking for the central bank to be careful not to throw away those two benefits of a stable and appreciating exchange rate and a decelerating inflation. The third benefit that the tight rate is that with stable exchange rate, with decelerating inflation, we've seen growth acceleration. It's benefit for all Nigerians.
But it hasn't still affected the price of bread. Food cost is still there.
No. Market surveys show that food prices had been coming down. Why wouldn't they come down?
But not significantly, Dr. Teriba. Not significantly because...
Hang on.
Okay.
inflation accelerated monthly for 18 months from June, every month from June 2003 to November 2018 months. So we've seen deceleration only 10 months or only 11 months, December last year and January to October, except March. So we've seen 10 months, if you like.
Are we in a hurry?
You are not going to.
Do you think we're in a hurry?
To do what?
To have ease of resources, lower food prices and all of that? And lower energy costs and all?
It's not within your control. We should be grateful, for small mercies, that whereas this time last year, things had been getting worse on a monthly basis for 18 months. Today, things have been getting better on a monthly basis for 10 months.
I know that, Joker would want to ask you a question
for 10
as well.
months, yes.
But,
Please,
the challenge that
I thought it was important that we have a clear sense of direction.
I understand that.
So the tight monetary policy has and benefits.
I hear you. I hear you. I still have other questions for Joker.
I was going to go around that, when you were quoting all the figures and how beneficial it was, but we're
not feeling it.
We want to. I don't know, the market surveys. Yes, it could say that things are coming down, but Nigerians are still complaining. Is it that it's a constant for Nigerians to complain regardless of the situation, or is it that they're really not seeing things the way they should? Or is it that Nigerians just are not patient enough to allow these prices crash? Or, last one, the people, the sellers, the people at the markets who are selling, are not being truthful that these things are cheaper and they're still selling to Nigerians at a higher cost than necessary?
See, the issues are so clear that you can't blame market women. You know what the Naira exchange rate is. At the NIFEM and at the BDC, they've converged now. We knew that it peaked at 1.9 last year. And now it's less than 1.5. So the prices that retailers will set at 1.9, it's called exchange rate pass-through, will be higher than the prices they are setting now at 1.5. It's evident. Somebody called me from one of the media houses and said that the urban inflation had been dropping faster than the rural one. Yeah, because appreciation of exchange rate gets passed through more or less instantaneously in urban centers. Now, point about Nigerians complaining is a matter of education. They might not have sat back to know that, okay, higher MPR had supported a regime in which the Naira has been strengthening and inflation has been coming down. And that they shouldn't ease it too fast. They've done 500 basis points in 2 meetings. They shouldn't do it too fast as to throw away that gain. So it took 18 months, consecutive months of depreciation of the currency, volatility, and acceleration of inflation to get Nigerians to troop to the streets in August last year. Now, it's taking 11 months now of ease. Let's be patient. Let's see how we get to 18 minus 11. The next 7 months will probably be at 6% inflation. It's now at 16, dropped from 34.6, which is 35, to 16. So if you do 5 more months in that trend, you will be in single digit. You could be at 5%,
right?
Which will be easier life. If the Naira keeps strengthening, the more it strengthens, each Nigerian gets better off by the day, by the month. And if the growth acceleration gets more entrenched, that's increased income, increased prosperity for everybody.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, it took a decade to get 139 million Nigerians into poverty. So a recovery, so we are now in a recovery phase in 2025. And let that recovery also become sufficiently entrenched that you see that people get, will get lifted out of poverty.
Dr. Teriba, if I ask you this, there always seems to be like a surprise when the CBN comes out with its decision. The MPC comes out with its decision, and economists and analysts always say, "Oh, we're expecting it this way, or we're expecting it the other way."
Yeah.
We expected them to maintain if they change, or we expected them to change if they maintain. I know that the CBN governor and his team and the central bankers and all that, they were all economists at some point before they got appointed to their various. They were in the system. So why are the expectations different from sometimes what the MPC does? I mean, is it that they don't think that this is the way to go? Or is it that the economists know better than the MPC? Because I'm always very confused when analysts say, "Oh, why did the CBN do this? They should have done that instead."
Oh, well, it's in the context of communication. The central bank and the people on the Monetary Policy Committee are privy to information that we are not privy to. And they will take the decisions that are in the best interest of everyone. So if they feel that holding on to the tight regime for a little more while will allow the benefits of a stable and strengthening currency to become entrenched, will allow the benefits of a decelerating inflation to become more entrenched, they will hold. Whereas the market may be in a hurry to see an easy regime. And now, for all that they have done in the last two meetings, easing the corridor from plus 500 to plus 50. People are not acknowledging it. Several people have called me to say they held at 27. But I said, but they eased the corridor. But they eased, you didn't notice that the corridor is around the monetary policy rate. Are we together?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they are now easing. And let's hope, they eased slightly in the corridor in the last meeting, they've eased further this meeting. Let's hope that the benefit of a strengthening naira and the decelerating inflation is not derailed even by that the easing. Because if it is derailed, then they will tighten once again.
Can we, is there a possibility, Dr. Teriba, of a fast-tracked process? Here is what I mean. To a large extent, as I said earlier, when we talk about all of these issues, the states are not even in the mix at all. Is it to say that, okay, maybe I should ask it straight up. Are there practical steps that you think state governments can take to reduce the pressure that this MPR is having on local businesses and even on the residents in their states?
Okay, yes. I mean, we can address that question. It's very important. And it's a major pillar of what the current government is doing. The renewed hope policy. And I've seen many states announce the introduction of urban transit. Kaduna, 100 CNG buses. Enugu, 200 CNG buses. Plus, is it 1,000 or 2,000 taxis, new terminals? So Lagos had done 2,000 taxis, lag ride. Now they've done an additional 5,000. They are doing rail, BRT started from here. You now have, you have rail, you have buses, you have taxis. From Kaduna to Enugu to Lagos, many states are actually, intervening to make transportation, energy transition easier for their populace. All of these initiatives, 100 buses, thousands of taxis, create employment, create income. The rail service in Lagos employ people. People generate income to complement, what's happening at the, national level, where, central bank is using its monetary policy decisions to make sure that the naira is stable and is better for Nigerians. Purchasing power, inflation is coming down. So that we are making interventions that are generating employment. Look at the terminals that were launched in Enugu. Or you look at what they are doing in Akwa Ibom. They are, the airport just got, elevated to status of an international airport. The traffic that they generate to the stadium in Uyo for FIFA-rated matches, so you now can connect directly. They have also an airline that helps that process. In Imo, you've seen the Skill Up Imo policy that Governor Hope Uzodinma has been championing.
So shouldn't all
training, more than 50,000 Imolites now.
So shouldn't all these
adjusting wage, pay rates.
Shouldn't all these things that you mentioned have a direct impact on reducing? You said something about the urban Nigeria feeling the benefits of the MPR quicker than the
rural.
So if the states are as active as they should be, shouldn't the rural areas also be feeling it as quickly?
Well, you don't have as many brody change in the rural areas as you have in urban places. So the benefit of a strengthening naira will be felt first in urban places. There's very little you can do about that. Market information are likely to be transmitted more quickly in urban places.
Well, Dr. Teriba, many times when we talk about all these macroeconomic issues, the only thing people want to hear is, the only thing most people want to hear is, when is food price going to come down? When is energy cost?
It's been coming down.
It's not coming down quickly.
The point is that if the gains of 2025 are sustained, the pains, we are moving further and further away from the pains of 2023, 2024. We are now talking about gains in 2025. If we could make sure that these gains are what characterizes 2026, by this time next year, we are talking about the exchange rate improving from 1,750 in November last year to 1,450 today. If we are speaking about a similar gain next year, maybe we are talking of 1,150. I tell you, the inflation rate has dropped from 34.6 in November last year to 16.0 in October will probably be 5.0 this time next year. And that will be approaching El Dorado.
Well,
so slowly but surely.
Well, we can do, the most we can say is just to continue to hope, because at the end of the day, there's only one opportunity we have, and we have to make the best of it at all times. The next time we have you here, we hope it to be down to 6%, just as you have said.
I hope so myself. So government can borrow a single digit.
Right.
Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
CEO, Economic Associates. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that's made all these, a thing is, when some things continue for so long, it becomes some kind of culture that you find it difficult to even imagine a life different from that culture. But we're not talking about insecurity. We're not talking about finance, health finance. We're not talking about the economy. What we're talking about is life.